It's time to take part in the Orange Effect because in just a few days, it is Self-Injury Awareness Day and month. Around 4% of Americans self-harm themselves, with a majority of those being college students, according to the Journal of Family Medicine. Joining me this morning is Dr. Tracy Alloway to talk more about this condition. Good morning. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
And to start from the beginning, why do people, particularly as we just heard college students, why do they resort to the self-harm?
There are a couple of reasons. One, we know that for them, it actually alleviates the emotional distress. So it almost shifts their focus away from what they're feeling stressed or concerned about to this particular action. So that's one of the big reasons.
And so if you're a family member, a roommate, friend, what should you be looking for?
That's a great question, Jen. And in my research, I published a study and found that one of the big clues is the language that people use, specifically when they make statements that they feel unworthy of love. If they say things like, why would anyone want to hang out with me? Why do they want to, talk to me? I'm not good enough. Expressing those kinds of self-critical attitudes where they feel they have to gain or do something to work for someone's affection or companionship is a great indicator of self-harm.
So you really need to be listening and kind of take off of those cues.
Absolutely, Jen.
And what should you do if you suspect, if you're a family, friend, loved one again, that somebody you know is self-harming?
Definitely call for help right away. If they're a minor, contact their parent, contact someone that's able to kind of intervene. But even for your own self, if you're feeling a little low, one of the great buffers that I found, again, in my research, is to visualize something positive about the event. So when we encounter an event, we have two pathways. We can reflect on it and be proactive and think, well, how could I do that a little differently? Or we have the negative pathway where we ruminate or we brood and we think, oh, I always do this. I can't believe that. And I found that our visual memory plays a key role in helping us focus on the positive of a particular event.
And that can be hard for some people, especially those who are in that mindset. So what do you suggest as the easiest starting point for people to kind of get in that positive visual mindset?
Even if it's just a few seconds, just close your eyes and think, I see myself doing this presentation and doing a great job. As simple as that. It doesn't have to be complicated. Or I see myself going into this job interview and I'm smiling. A simple, concrete cue like that can make a big difference.
And you have done extensive research on this. What's your biggest takeaway when we're talking about self-harm?
I think it's important for all of us to be aware of the cues, that sometimes we're looking for big behaviors, and really it's the smallest of language that we are using for ourselves or that our friends might be using. And again, it's these self-critical statements can be a great clue, and sometimes they're hidden because we say that maybe even jokingly, and so really just to be attentive to those verbal cues.
And is there any conversation that parents should have with their children if they suspect? What's the best way to approach that conversation?
With children, it's a little more difficult because sometimes they don't use those verbal cues. Even when I work with clients, I had an 11-year-old, and one of the things that she was saying is, oh, I'm stupid, I can't do this. So that's a big early indicator, too, that as a parent, if you notice your child using those statements when it's not true, address that and try to encourage them and try to say, well, look at what you are doing. So almost like you're reshifting the focus away from what they can't do to what they can do. So again, even as parents, it's important to be attentive to the language. And it may not be big language. It may just be simple things like, I'm not good enough, or I just can't do this.
All great information. Such an important topic. Thank you for being here this morning.
Thank you.
If you are hurting from self-harm or know someone who is, you can text CONNECT to 741-741. You can text that number anytime about any type of crisis. A live trained crisis counselor will receive the text and will let you know that they are here to listen. We will have more after the break.